I came here for love. No one can hold me down. I won't give it up. No, I want you to reach out. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, production. Good save. Good save, because you knew who to play with. I told y'all. Good save. Good. You knew who to play with. Don't forget why this show is trending. Don't forget why everybody want to watch this show. Don't forget the reason why everybody got your name in their mouth. Because you can try to rig the game, say it with me, but you can't fake influence. Good save. I was racking my brain. I was like, how they getting out of this? How they getting out of this? Good save. Good save. And I'm going to get into the review, and then after we can get into the comments. And I want to say this. to the Star family, my loyal Star family members. Thank you so much for riding with me. Thank you so much for protecting me. I saw y'all was going. I didn't see the comments until recently. I saw y'all was going to war in the chat for me, and I love y'all, and I honestly appreciate it. Protect your peace. Protect your peace. Don't waste your time, your breath, your energy on swine. Don't let them in. And also, thank you for the suggestion of putting my lives on subscribers only. I actually figured it out and I found out how to do that. But then right before I got on, I decided to open it back up because I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared, and I want all the smoke. I want it. I want it. Now on Friday show, if we have one, I don't know if we're going to have a Friday show because of the 4th. We will see. If we do have a show on that day, I'm going to make it subscriber only just because it's going to be a call-in show. And I just, got to protect the audience. But I ain't never scared. Never have been. Never have. If God wanted me to be scary, he wouldn't have put me in the city of Philadelphia, the inner city of Philadelphia. I ain't never scared. Why? Because I know who I am. I am secure in who I am. The veil has been ripped. I can see behind the curtain and I see no wizard. I ain't scared. And I'm hella smart and witty. Like, nobody's beating me in an argument. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. I love you. I just want to let the Star family know I opened it up again. So if you feel like if it gets a little toxic in here and you don't feel comfortable, I absolutely understand. You do not have to stay in this chaos if you do not want to. If you want to stay. Have a good time. I appreciate your views. Please make sure you like the video before you exit, though. And a last thing. If you do have an opinion that you disagree and you're like not a subscriber or whatever, and you do want to have your moment, be man or woman enough or demon enough to come up here and show your face and defend your wrong opinion. Let's go. Let's go. I couldn't join the debate team because I was also a theater major, and I could not double major because I was in the spring musical. But nobody knows how to debate better than me. I'm a middle child. Anyway, let's get into it. Again, shout out to production. Good save. When I saw those votes, those really high school votes, who's the meanest? Who do you like? And all of that mess. I was just like, oh, you're opening up this cast for bullying. Sick of pinning it. Despite how everybody feels and, everybody fighting back and forth and fan bases or whatever, I want to be very clear. This show better protect this cast when they get out of the villa, because the way that they are setting each and every person up in this villa to be bullied and tormented, unexcusable for them. So I hope that they do more than put up a no, please don't bully post on Instagram or a little message right before their show. No, you all need to come out. NBC Universal needs to come out and protect each and every person on that cast, because as a reality TV show watcher, as somebody who has worked in front of and behind the camera concerning reality TV, I know how these shows work. So that's why I'm able to give grace to so many people, because I know that what they are dealing with and what they are experiencing is not what we are seeing. I know how manipulating these shows are, and I know they are heavily edited. We are not seeing the full scope of things. So they are all going to come out and have a totally different interpretation of what we have seen. But you're able to get away with faking results or faking every moment within a reality TV show, because real moments still happen in that. So they're able to get away with calling it reality TV because real things happen, but it's highly scripted, it's highly edited, and these people are highly, high key manipulated. And we also have to realize we are dealing with very young people who have been isolated for 2 weeks, no phone, no connection to the outside world, no connection with their family before they even got into the villa. And then they have an entire production team playing on their mind and their emotions. Yes, these people are absolute game players, but they are not bigger or better at playing this game than production. And we are losing the plot here by just, watching the show and just leaving and having our opinions or whatever. But it has become so toxic that the women, ain't that something? The women on this show have to turn off their comments on all of their social medias because they're getting death threat. People are sprouting all kind of racist and misogynistic things to the women. But who's unscathed? The men. If you are a woman and you have been under these women's pages saying all kinds of nonsense, and you don't even know the social medias of the men, you are the problem. And you are the reason why we as women are consistently held back, because not only are you male-centered, you're a pick-me for the worst generation of men. You are a fool and an embarrassment to every woman. Because it is not lost on me that them boys have not been touched. But every woman has been called everything but a child of God. And they're the best thing about the damn show. Embarrassing. You too young to be a pick-me, because I know it's young people. How foolish. How foolish. Wasted your 20s being a hater and a pick-me and gonna die in a war because you didn't think that it was that serious to vote. Yikes. Anyway, let's get into it. Ariana needs to stay neutral. Ariana needs to stay absolutely neutral. I think she is, I was going to say partially responsible. I'm going to give her 90% responsibility for the bullying and harassment and racism that the woman of color on this show is receiving. And the reason why I am going to give her that is because I noticed an uptick in hate for Shelly and Alondria when she got on that Access Hollywood interview and gave her opinion. I will say this, I haven't spoke up before because she's my girl and I wanted to protect her. I don't know her, but I've always just, I've been riding with her for a long time within her journey on reality TV. And after what happened to her on that show, I just felt really bad for her. The sympathy is gone. This is what happens. This is why so many people are in platforms that they should not have, right? Because when you get it, you show the world why you shouldn't have had it in the first place. Because she gets in this position after, let's be honest, this was a sympathy job. Everybody felt bad for her for how, the show treated her, how her man treated her, and how her best friends treated her. So everybody felt completely bad for her, and everybody was riding for her, and wanting to open up doors for her. Everybody's just like, let's just give her this. Let's just give her this moment. And the minute she got in that position, she got too big for her britches. And production should have told her as a host, you have no opinion about anybody. None. Especially while the season is airing. You are supposed to be neutral. She's under comments talking about she's in everybody's comments talking about the people that she loves, fighting with people who have anything to say about the show, and just really looking unprofessional and really looking like this job should have went to an actual host and not some girl on a reality TV show that had a bad season. Because when she went on an Access Hollywood interview, and I will give her grace because I don't think that she intended, I don't think that what she said or how she said it was malicious. I don't think that she thought when she said those things that the firestorm that Alondria and Shelley was going to receive was going to come from those words. But that is because she does not understand the position she's in and the power that she holds. So when she said in that interview that Shelley and Alondria are insecure, that's why they're mad at Huda, she then weaponize or use her position as the host, right? Because when you're the host, people are thinking you're the entire production team, but she's talent just like the cast, easily replaceable. So when you put yourself in that position, the world doesn't understand the job that you have or the position in which you. There go the ghetto birds. Whole house shaking. The world doesn't understand the position that you're in, right? They don't know that you're talent. They think that when you speak, you're speaking for the show, right? So she so when she says what she says, she gives validation to the girls or to anybody who was watching the show who were waiting for a moment to attack Shelley and Alondria. Now there are people who critique them and was just like, I didn't like, those are my girls, but I didn't like what they did this episode. Great. Not talking about you, right? What I am saying, what the people that I am talking about are the people who have always been envious of Black people, especially Black women, and were waiting for a moment to drag them because they were being loved on far too much for their liking, especially Shelley, because that audience has a representative in that villa, and that is Huda. She is the one who they most likely identify with. Could be because of her culture, it could be because of the way she looks, but it is absolutely one of the main reasons why they are riding for her is because they are that non-Black woman who is in a space with Black women who just resonate. And no matter what they do, no matter what they say, they cannot take their spot or their shine. So when Huda says things like, would it help if I was ugly? Why did he make her pancakes and not me? Why is he giving her this kind of date and I'm not getting that kind of date? You see yourself. You see yourself in her because that is how you are with every Black woman that you come into contact with, even if you're not in contact, when you see them, right? And especially when you see a Black woman that the men who you desire can't stay off of. It eats them alive. So when they have a moment to tear down a Black woman, this ain't got nothing to do with Shelley. It's absolutely about them. And I'm also speaking to light-skinned Black women, biracial Black women, and biracial meaning one of your parents is Black, specifically your father. Because I feel like, and I just got to say it, if your mother was the Black person in that relationship, you wouldn't feel the way that you feel about Black women, especially dark-skinned Black women. You were raised and you were carried in an anti-Black body and raised by an anti-Black person. That, not all of you, but just the ones who feel a certain way about Shelley, right? So those are the people who, when you, like, when I was looking at this, I was clicking on their pages and I was like, what is it? What is it? And I'm just like, oh, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same person over and over and over again. So you find validation in tearing her down because what you can't do in your real life, you can do with these Sims on this TV show. So you feel glorious knowing that your Shelly is losing followers, or knowing that you could vote her out of the villa, because you can't vote Vanetta at your job out of that position, right? You can't tear down Letitia at your school, right? You can't do that, but you can do that here to Shelly. So that is what we are dealing with. And then we just have the regular racists who are just always looking for a moment to try to hinder Black people. But one thing for certain, and two things that will always be true: all we do is win, 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 no matter what. I'm not worried about Shelly and Alondria. I said that in my last live. I'm not worried about them outside this villa. They will be okay. They will be okay because of who they are. They know who they are, especially Miss Shelly, and y'all can't take. Now, I will say this. As somebody who holds this space, hold on, hold on. My spirit is vexed. Let me deal with this. In my intro, I was talking about Gen Z, not the entire community, but the young people who have been extremely red pilled. And I was talking about how, they have dialed into this anti-Blackness that comes with red pilling. That was a community I was speaking about. But I want to correct myself when I made that comment where I said, give it to me, Lord. Where I said, basically the end of the comment was just like, you're going to die in a war because you did not think that voting was that serious. I'm not saying that lightly, and I'm not saying that in jest, right? It actually grieves me that such young people were misled, because I knew as a millennial going into that voting booth that I was voting to protect the next generation. I knew exactly what was going to happen to the next generation behind me. And I felt like it was my responsibility, absolutely, to look out for myself, but to look out for the next generation. Because in the words of Whitney Houston, I believe the children are the future. So I want to make that very clear. I did not say that in jest. I am very serious, especially now with that bill that was just passed. So I don't want anybody to be like, oh, Nikki, you just said, you're trying to say that to get at somebody. Forgive me if that is how it came off. I want to correct myself, because that vexed me. I was like, I don't want to move on from that. And people are thinking that I'm just saying that as some joke. I am very concerned about this next generation, extremely concerned. And I hope that if a lot of you get to make it to the next election, that you correct that wrong, my God, today, because you have always been a target for conservatives. They have always targeted the youth, because when you lock in, you change the globe. That vexed my spirit. I didn't feel right about that. I didn't want to move on from that. Were y'all thinking that was a joke? I don't think y'all thought that, but when something isn't sitting right in my spirit, I gotta correct it. Anyway, let's move on. Love y'all. Let's be wise next if we make it to the next election. Anyway, Ariana, what I was saying about her is she needs to stay neutral, because her then using her influence, people who had very terrible opinions about Shelly and Alondria felt as if the show agreed with them, and then everybody who's been wanting to say something not about Shelly and Alondria, but about Black people, about Black women in general, jumped in. And it has become such a firestorm that Ariana and the show needs to correct, because that was completely an irresponsible way for her to use her influence. And the show, I don't think they are, but it appears as if they are giving favoritism to Huda and not Shelly and Alondria. So it looks like it's racism, Because when Huda, who rightfully got the show rightfully put that message up for her and Vanna, when that message was put up, it was after those two ladies, not unknowingly, received a lot of bullying and hate comments, right? So the same thing has happened to Shelly and Alondria. There's no message from the show. There's nothing. Ariana is answering every other person about the treatment of Shelly and Alondria, but not answering the people who are just like, why would you use your influence that way? Why would you say? She's not answering anything. So it's like, you guys are aware, but you're not doing anything. Why? Why are these two women different? And you never want to leave that open for discussion, because as quickly as you handled it for Huda and Vanna, you should have did the same thing for Shelly and Alondria. Ariana needs to stay neutral. And next season, if they get one, that needs to be implemented. And again, she's not a host. She's new to this. So she's going to stumble and she's going to figure it out. And she's a white woman, so she will absolutely get grace, right? But you can't be so super liberal and so woke and so open that you can't see when, ooh, your inner Karen is coming out. Let's get delivered from that Karen and let's learn a lesson from this. One thing about being a Black American is it's like being Black American is like being stuck in a spirit Halloween in hell. And it is full of people who are wearing the same costume. And it's a very cheap, poorly put together clearance rack costume. And the costume that they are wearing is generic Black American. Like, y'all don't understand the mental gymnastics that we have to do to just stay sane. We have to constantly hear our vernacular in other people's mouths and not cringe or vomit when we hear it. Everybody in this villa, I was standing on business. I stood on business. Did you hear me stand on business? Shut up. You sound ridiculous. I just was like, I hate when our vernacular becomes popular. Well, it always is. Everything we do is popular. I hate when it just gets outside of my community, because people are always late and it's always used the wrong way. Like our terminology, everything we do. I was watching this video of like a young lady at her prom, and I think it was either the late 90s or early 2000s. And she, in her prom video, she clocked that tea. And people were like, oh my God, they were clocking their tea in the 90s? I'm just like, a lot of you do not realize that a lot of things that you were saying and doing, Black Americans did 40 years ago. Oh my God. Every time somebody said stand on business, I said, let's move on from this. Please. Everybody's using it wrong. Everybody. I was so annoyed. So we see now, after this whole challenge, the men are separated and the women are separated, and everybody's talking about the standing on business challenge. The men, this was terrible episode for them. They're all dragging Amaya. They're all dragging Amaya, talking about how she's too emotional. It is not lost on me that they think that the one woman who will not allow them to play with her or will not allow them to disrespect her is too emotional. They are so dumb. They do not realize that Amaya is crying because she can't put hands on them. She's crying because she can't pull her razor out of her ponytail. She's crying because she don't want to get a manslaughter charge. Y'all not clocking that tea. Y'all not getting it. Y'all not getting it. Y'all think her her crying is a sign of weakness, but her crying is actually saving your life in your jaw. That is a Dominican woman from New York City. Ah, all them people do is throw hands. She is doing her best to stay calm. And a lot of people don't know that. They think that when people are crying, it's a sign of weakness. But a lot of times when people are crying, it is because the emotions have to get out of their body. Because if they don't release it, they're going to hold it in and it's going to come out another way. So they won't scream. They won't throw anything. They won't windmill you, but they'll cry because they got to release that pain. They might want to release it. They might want to release it. But instead they cry. She is not weak. If we're going to be honest, she's the strongest person in that villa. She is the strongest person in that villa. She came in that villa, watched a man play with her and dispose her like she was not a human being. Watch that same man poison every man against her and watch every man fall in line. And when she confronts that said man, he makes himself a victim and nobody protects her. Then she finally gets a guy who she thinks really likes her, but she is his third choice because his first choice was Shelly. And while she still thinks that she's in La La Land with this man, she sees him pull away and get with somebody else. And then that same day, he sits there and watch every man tear her down. And then he decides to pile on and add to the disrespect. And all she did was shed a few tears. She wanted to throw the podium at him. But instead, she shed some tears. That is strength. That is resilience. And that is a woman who's going to leave the villa with $100K. While y'all go home to your studio apartment in Koreatown that you share with 6 guys. Let's move on. But I love Amaya, and I'm glad that she's standing on business. That is my girl. I will say, I don't mind her using, because she's adorable. She was like, I was standing on business, okay? And I do not care what any other man had to say about me because I was standing on business. Yes, you were, mama. You were absolutely standing on, you were absolutely standing on business. I feel bad for Tall Hannah because she sits down with Pepe and the conversation that she has with him, she didn't want, I don't think this conversation did not go the way that she wanted to go because she was talking to him and she was just like, so what was going on here? Like, how are you still feeling this way with Hannah? Like, but I'm here and I'm trying to make something happen. And Pepe is just like, I can't make myself feel some way for you. Like I can't force something. There is no spark there. That is not how she thought that conversation was going to go because Pepe essentially ended it with her and was just like, listen, I still, what I had with Hannah, I don't have with you. But then he tells her it's not about Hannah. It's not Hannah. It's you. And I'm like, well, are you supposed to you're trying to make her feel good? Because even when she starts crying and she's just like, I've never had this before. I've never been in a situation where I'm constantly competing with a woman that's not there. And I'm dealing with a guy who talks about this woman. And Pepe, wait, what did he say? Pepe was just like, yeah, constantly. I was like, you did not have to add in. Like she was already falling out. You did not have to add in that you constantly keep on talking about Hannah. But I feel bad for her because she was a Casa girl. She came into a really bad season. She came into a really toxic villa. and she just did not have the experience that was promised to her. Poor tall Hannah. Poor tall Hannah. So Shelly and Alondria are talking about their issues with, what happened, and they were like, "Oh, child, this is messy." Again, I hope the show never does this again. I hope they never do this again, because what was the reason? What was the reason for them to do this stand on business? Everybody speak your piece, because nobody stood on business. Everybody was just taking shots at each other. It was like they should have just called it the shady challenge. Like, it should have been throw your shade, right? Or just throw your insults, because that's what it was. I just don't know how that was supposed to make the show or the game any more interesting. All it did was kill the morale of people whose minds they have been playing with for a month or so at this point. It looked bad on production. It just seemed like they were punching down and causing chaos and making an already uncomfortable environment even more uncomfortable for their cast. And I just felt, I felt like they should protect them a bit better. I know this is reality TV, but I don't think that this cast deserves the brutality that they are receiving. And I feel like the show is just adding to the abuse. That challenge wasn't necessary. It didn't push the cast any farther. It didn't make connections happen. It didn't make people close off. It didn't make people want to explore. It just really killed the morale in the villa, and everybody was just feeling low. So what was the point? I hope they never do this again. So anyway, Shelly and Alondria are talking, and I'm still going to stand with Shelly. Nobody's going to change my mind, or nobody has come up with an argument for me that could change my mind, because Shelly is just like, when Ace explored, I let him explore. Now I'm exploring, and all of a sudden it's not fair. It's not right. I'm the bad guy, and I don't think so. I don't think she's a bad guy. I like that she's exploring. I want her to explore more. It is unfair for Ace to feel any way about this woman when he set up the system. I have the same problem with Ace that I have with Huda. They set up a system. They want everybody to abide by it, but they don't abide by it. It's like, I want to have these rules and laws for you, but I don't have to abide by those rules and laws, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm only going to tell you when you start to use those rules and laws against me. It's like, I can do it, but you can't. It's cool when I do it, but it's a problem when you do it. So F you. It is absolutely unfair. He has no argument to me that makes sense. Casa is supposed to force you to explore other connections. That's exactly what she's doing. I feel the same way with Huda. I don't care that none of the guys liked her. She did that. She made herself absolutely disgusting to all of the men, because they watch her verbally, mentally, and emotionally abuse another man in the villa. So they don't want that. And they have tried to get her out consistently. So she got to get a Casa boy who wants to stay on the show to stick with her. And she realized that, because she tried it with all the other guys and none of them wanted her. Chris was the only one who wanted her after he saw how Shelly reacted to Ace. Still, Shelly sloppy seconds. Still in her shadow. That was shady. I know. I wanted it to be. But it's the same thing. Now it's, oh, I can't explore. You can absolutely explore. But you should have never told that girl that you was doing this for her. You should have never told that girl, don't talk to Jeremiah. If we're going to be sisters, I like Jeremiah. Don't talk to him. Don't do anything with him. Please do not explore with him. Because just because we didn't see the conversation that Shelly had with the ladies about Chris does not mean it didn't happen. Because another thing that people do not realize is that when they have their breaks, when they have their Wednesday break and their Saturday break, they also have breaks during the day for them to eat. So they all eat, but they all eat separately. The boys sit with the boys and the girls sit with the girls. They cannot communicate with each other. They can only all communicate when the cameras are up and rolling. So when they're eating their lunch, when they're break, because they have to have legally, they have to break for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They have to be fed. They have to have an hour lunch because this is a union show. So when they're at breakfast for an hour, they are not mic'd, they are not being filmed, but all the men are sitting together, all the women are sitting together. The same thing for lunch, the same thing for dinner. So just because we didn't see the conversation that they had doesn't mean they didn't have it. We also didn't see the conversation that Huda had with the other girls, but we heard that they had that she had that conversation with the other girls about Jeremiah from Shelly. Sitting with Huda and the rest of the girls, and the rest of the women agreed. So I have to believe that they had, that's why Shelly is so upset, because they had that conversation and she let the girls know, I really like Chris. This is who I want to pursue. Oh, Shelly can't have her cake and eat it too. She can't have two guys that she wants to explore. That's Love Island. You just got here, apparently. That is the show. You are supposed to pursue multiple people. That is the show. The show is for you to have your cake and eat it too. My God, today I'm tired of fighting with people who started watching the season on episode 15. You just got here. You don't know the rules of this game. It's an orgy. You're supposed to have multiple partners. That's why they have those votes to make you choose. These people came in here already married. The show had to break them up, have them divorce, and force them to explore. Huda explored. Nobody wanted her. But that point guard who can't play, Mr. Oh, I don't give a F about this show. I could be overseas playing basketball. But you're not. You're not. You're here in Fiji trying to be a reality TV star. So please, if basketball was so great, or if you were so good at it, you'd still be over there in Finland playing against 4-2 white men thinking you're LeBron James. Sit down. Sit down. You and that culture vulture. Can't wait to vote them out. Anyway, I am still Team Shelly. I haven't yet to hear an argument to me that makes sense. She's exploring. She sat there while 5-0 Goes West played in her face. It blew up in his face. Now he wants to close off. Why? You explored. Oh, you want to close off because nobody wants you? Okay. Okay. Oh, I could have had Coco. Coco would have gotten that villa and got with Chris. Don't play them games. You're smart. You're very, very smart. Let's not do this. Still agree with Shelly on this, and that I also agree with her issues with Huda. She told Huda how she felt, thought that Huda would respect the boundaries that Huda set. That's why she was telling Huda that, because Huda told the other girls that. And then when Huda realized that she might be going home, she got with Chris. Chris only got with Huda because he saw how Shelly treated Ace and got jealous, and also felt like, oh, she likes him more than she likes me, and I'm going to be eliminated if she ever has to choose between me and Ace, and I don't have a job and I'm homeless, so I need to stay on the show. So let me pick Huda. That's what happened. Huda can explore in the Fiji airport. I will also say this. Another thing that bothered me was that the men was in the villa acting like victims. Oh, can you believe how Amaya said that? Oh, can you believe Shelly? Oh, I'm surprised they did not receive more rage. See, this is the thing. I tell you pick me's all the time. It doesn't matter how much you lower yourself for these men, they will expect you to go lower. It's never enough. It's never enough because that patriarchy demon never gets full. It's a devourer. You will waste your life trying to feed it until it consumes you completely. They got a season of women who are absolute pick-me's, and they still not happy. They have breadcrumbed these women the entire season. They've given them nothing. And these women has been fighting to be with them. And it's not enough. It's not, they can never satisfy them. It is not, they're still sad. They're, oh, can you believe she spoke to me like that? Can you believe? And the crazy part about it is, these men are getting special treatment in this villa and on this show, right? Because the women will die for them, figuratively. Whatever they give them, they'll think it's the world. Production has favored these men where they have had control of the game since they walked into the villa. And then you have a large block of the viewers who have their sights set on destroying the women completely. They have never once targeted these men. They have so much favor. It is eating me alive watching this nonsense. And guess what? It's not enough. It's not enough. They're still not satisfied. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Because I guarantee you, after this vote, after this episode and all America votes, they will all find a reason to blame the women. And the girls will accept it, and so will America. Oh, Lord, I am actually so embarrassed. Because America was looking like something for a second. Everybody stopped watching the other Love Island and started watching this one and talking about how great it is. And America said, oh, the world is watching. Let me embarrass myself. She can never rise to the occasion. The minute you put the spotlight on that dumb heifer, she will make sure to embarrass herself. OMG. Let's get into Miss Amaya. That's my girl. That is my girl. You know what? At this point, I'm rooting for her and Brian, because this is the thing. I always said I was not going to punish Shelly and Alondria for their men. I can't. I'm sorry, sisters. You may just have to be casualties. Now, I'm taking my girls to the end. I'm giving that money to Amaya. I'm giving that money. Unless Brian gets on my nerves. Right now, Shelly and Alondria, y'all prospects, I can't. The woman in me will not allow it. The woman in me will not allow it. So, Brian, I suggest you shut up for 8 days so you can get this money. But where is my girl? There she is. I love when she talked to Zach, because Zach was trying to gaslight her. and he wanted to pull her for a chat. He pulled her for a chat. She was cool, calm, and collected. And he just basically was just like, telling her why he said what he said. And she was just like, I'm fine. You can say whatever you want to say. But to sit there and do that in front of everybody while I'm being humiliated did not help. I did not like it. And he's trying to gaslight her again and try to reason why he humiliated her instead of just apologizing. And she's just like, you know what? You're not a good person. Don't ever talk to me again. And walked away and didn't shed a single tear. Girl, all you got to do is stay consistent for 8 days, and you got it, mama. You got it. I love her. So Huda and Shelly, they sit down and they have a chat. Huda starts off right away with I love you. I will say she first sat down with Alandria and she started to cry. And Alandria apologizes, right? Because what do you do? What do you do when a non-Black woman is crying in front of you? If you're a Black person, you know what you got to do to stay alive. Anyway, so she apologizes to her. Huda doesn't realize this, that Alandria and Huda are co-workers. Alandria and Shelly are best friends. She doesn't realize that yet because she still thinks that everybody's in this sisterhood. She doesn't realize the sisterhood that she created cannot stand her. They're exhausted. They have carried her. They have protected her. They are exhausted. She has made every woman in that house sick of her. And it's only by her hands and what she has done. And it seems like everybody is following suit because it seems like Shelly was the last person who was riding for her in that house. And when Shelly said, I give up, all the other girls said, okay, well, if Shelly is out, we're going to do the same thing because we've been out, but we ain't want to say nothing because she was still riding for this girl and protecting this girl. But now that she has finally seen the light, we're all done. So her and Alandria have a convo. They bury the hatchet. Her and Alandria apologizes, and they're back in this fake sisterhood. Then Shelly and Huda sit down. They both explain their positions. Huda apologizes, Shelly apologizes, and they bury the hatchet. I don't think this is real. I think by the time we get to the reunion, they're all going to still hate each other. I think that this was by production. It was completely set up by production because production saw how toxic the fan base was getting and how this was going to turn into a racial nightmare for the entire network. So they made these two bury the hatchet. I don't think that this is done. And I think that when they all get out and they see when they see the show and they see what really happened, by the time we get to that reunion, I think it's going to be a bloodbath. But the girls coming together and saying they're sorry and apologizing and burying the hatchet and being in this sisterhood again was absolutely something forced by production to control the fan base. And I think it's genius. I think it's genius. Then we get into the game of America, where America says and Americans give their opinions on how they feel about the cast. So in this game, the men go first. The women has to guess who's the guy that America thinks is more genuine, and who's the guy that America thinks is the least genuine. They all have to vote on who they think it is. And the girls give their vote, and whoever is the least gets slimed. Whoever is the most favorite gets a balloon popped over their head. And then after the girls give their vote, Ariana lets them know what America really, really thought. Also, production, another great save, because I do not think that any of the votes that actually were voted in those polls were in this show tonight. Y'all thought y'all was going to ruin NBC's money? Absolutely not. Because they know if the blacks go, so do the ratings. Please. We are wise enough to know that you may not like us, but we're needed. Because you can try to rig the game, but you can't They are wise enough to know. I think this was all production. All of these votes and everything. No way Taylor and Clark was in the last. Shelly and Alondria was the last. Huda was supposed to be first in everything. This was all the work of production. And I think it's smart. Here is why. They could not trust those polls because racist and bot buyers were manipulating the voting. They're not going to tell you that because they want everybody to still stay engaged so they can get deadline articles that they're voting, they had the most votes ever, and Love Island broke this and ratings this and all of that. They're not going to tell y'all that they interfered with y'all votes because they know that you were trying to manipulate an outcome. They're not going to tell you that. But if you read the fine print at the end of each episode, you'll catch it. So this is absolutely them. And I think it was smart. I think it was smart because the way the bot buyers and the racists were trying to rig this vote, all of the Black people would have been up for elimination. You know how terrible that would have looked? You know how terrible? They would not have been able to fight racist allegations. They would not have been able to fight racist allegations. And here comes the lawsuits. NAACP would have been first. No, you're not going to mess with these people's money. Absolutely not. And then with the racist allegations, all of a sudden, advertisers are dropping the show. Now you're not getting Maybelline paying $4 million for an ad to be for them to be mentioned in your show, because that was a commercial for Maybelline. You're not going to get those big advertisers. They're not paying $4 and $5 million to play commercials or have ads during this really popular show. And that's the only way that show stays on. Ratings are nothing. I'm not saying they're nothing. They do mean something. Ratings and views, they do mean something, but they mean something to advertisers. That's how these shows stay on. Because if a show is popular, advertisers are looking at the eyes. How many people are watching the show? They don't give a damn about them polls. They don't give a damn about those votes. I want to know how many eyes are going to be on the show when my commercial plays right before a cliffhanger. That's it. That's all they care about. You are not giving a show $4 million that has racist allegations against it and the NAACP suing them. I'm going to keep my $4 million and give it to The Bachelor. So they weren't letting them people mess up their money. Smart. Absolutely smart. So they absolutely rigged this game because racists were trying to rig it. And they can't trust those votes. So y'all can continue to vote in them polls, make Huda look like the queen. They will never take your vote seriously now. You did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. I will say this about advertisers. I know Maybelline was heated that this is where Love Island decided to put their ad right before this bullying game. Oh, I know the Maybelline execs was like, get NBC on the phone. Because I would have been pissed. Like, absolutely, this is not where I wanted my ad to be. This is not, because this game, it was straight bullying. Who does America think is the most genuine? Who is more trustworthy to America? Why are you telling these young people that this is what the world is saying about them? They better hope and pray. They better hope and pray that nobody on this show does anything harmful to themselves because of what this show showed of them, edited, mind you, and what this fan base did to them. That's why I'm telling them, y'all better get in front of this. Y'all better get in front of this, because if anybody loses their life because of this show, this will be the last Love Island USA you will ever see. And no, they will get no redemption here. Absolutely not. They better get in front of this. This game or whatever, this whole episode was a good save for them, but they better get in front of this, because this fan base, or the people who just started watching, diabolical. They want blood. They want to harm these people. They better get in front of this. So, Taylor and Ace got a wake-up call. Taylor and Clark child. Clark may be she may start exploring next episode. Clark may start exploring next episode because Taylor was dead last for everything. And it's so funny how Taylor started off. He was so cocky. He was so cocky in the beginning. You know, he dapping up the boys. He doing all this. He just like, yeah, I had to tell her. I had to let her know. And I ain't going to talk to her because she ain't no woman going to talk to me. The only person who can talk to me like that is my mother and my wife. She's not going to talk to me like that. She is neither of that. All cocky. Then when we get to the game and he's at the end of everything, well, you know, I just, you know, it's because of the Olympia thing. Why are you so meek and childlike now? We saw the real you at breakfast. We saw the real you when y'all want me to choose. I choose Clark. We saw the real you. Now, who is this meek and humble guy? I feel bad for Clark. Because he knows he deserves this. Okay, Daffy. Okay, Daffy. Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? What a wake-up call for him and Ace. My God, today. So we get to the game. Basically, we get through the game. Basically, was a wake-up call for Taylor and Ace. And then Ariana's just like, there's also one more thing. America voted their favorite girl and their least favorite guy. And their least favorite, their favorite guy, their favorite girl, their least favorite guy, and their least favorite girl. We did not get to who was their favorite. Smart. Smart. We did not get to who was their favorite, but we only talked about the least. So the people who got the least amount of votes would be in danger of going home immediately. So, I will say this before we get into it. America loves Amaya. And if Brian is smart, he will lock in because America loves Amaya. And she was like, "Cuz I stand on business." I love her. I love her. So 3 boys and 3 girls are at risk. The 3 girls that are at risk are Casa Girls and Bombshells. We have Jaden Grayson. I know her name now. Tall Hannah. And Adriana. I am so shocked by her trajectory on this show. Remember when she walked in, y'all? I cannot believe we're here. Anyway, then the 3 boys at risk are TJ, Taylor, and Austin. I said, oh, this was production. This was production, baby. So, Ariana says the Islanders can only save one person. Not one boy, one girl, one person. I will say this, production heard us. We said there's too many people in the villa. And they said, okay, got it. Let's go. We're getting rid of 50 right now. My God, today. My God, today. So all the Islanders have to get up and have to stand behind somebody that they want to stay. Of course, a lot of the OG cast stood behind Taylor. Then it got to Alandria, and she got up and stood behind Austin. I wish she would have stood behind Adriana, but I realized she doesn't know the Austin that we know, and they have all been very close, tightly knit together in that villa. So, you know, they have a relationship we don't know. He's also done his part to save her as well. So I'm gonna just go with that. That's the reason why she stood behind him. I don't care who she stood behind. As long as it wasn't Taylor, I was happy. I was like, thank God she finally got it. And she did not stand behind Taylor because early in the episode, she said that chapter was closed and she was done. But a lot of times Alandria says it and, you know, she goes. But I'm glad that she stood on business and she stood behind Austin. Of course, it gets down to Ace, who's already in tears. He's ready to cry because he sees that people are standing behind different people. And not everybody is standing behind Taylor. I will say shout out to Amaya, Boricua, Morena, Dominicana. She stood behind her sis. She stood behind her sis. She said, I'm not going to do my sis like that. Shout out to the Dominican Republic. That's right. She stood behind her sister. I love me some Amaya. But the last person, it's between Adriana and Taylor. And the last person to vote is Sierra. Sierra goes, and I'm like, no shade to this young lady, but I know she's a pick me. I was just hoping. I was hoping that she was going to stand behind the Queen of the Dominican Republic and we would have a tie in. There would have to be some kind of breaker. But she stood behind Taylor. I don't think she stood behind Taylor because she believed that he should stay. She stood behind Taylor because of Nick. Don't even have her own mind. And so Taylor ends up having the most votes by one. By one. Yeah. Yeah. Shelly and Ace, I don't know what's going to happen because Shelly's still behind Adriana. And I was like, oh, Miss Ace is going to be mad. Ciao. I don't know if they're going to be able to repair this. These two seem broken forever. So Taylor ends up staying and everybody goes home. The people going home are TJ, Austin. Can you believe we got Austin out of here? I thought he was going to win. TJ, Austin, Jaden, Grayson, and Adriana. I also think that Austin going home was, listen, I knew if it was going to be between Austin and Taylor, Austin was going, but I think the production also had to do that because how in the hell can Austin win this show? They couldn't have that. They couldn't have that. So good save, production. Listen, I'll give them their 10s when they should have them. But they got to do a lot better behind Shelly and Alandria. I don't like it. They should have been spoke up. They should have been protecting them. I do not like it. So Taylor ends up staying. We get those people out of here. It's back to being POC Island. I will say Iris was doing a lot of crying with TJ. And she ain't leave with him. No shade. Iris and Pepe should have left. Pepe, you don't have no more connections. Why are you still there? If he doesn't self-eliminate, it's going to be ridiculous. Who are you going to get with? You had a spark with Hannah. She's not there. You don't have a spark with Tall Hannah. Tall Hannah is gone. So now what? We're going to bring in bombshells? Come on. Come on. Come on. The bombshell better be Hannah. Ooh, ooh. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? It doesn't make sense. The way Iris was crying and breaking down, she has no other connections in the villa. Girl, if you and Pepe are not going to link up, you need to go with TJ. Why do all that crying and then stay? I mean, I get it. She doesn't really know how the relationship is going to work outside the villa. But, like, do you really think you have a chance now at winning? I will say, thinking about it now, if Pepe and Iris link up, she might just win this because America loves Pepe. He was shocked. Pepe was shocked. So we will see. We will see. We did not get a preview of the next episode because I probably think the next episode is going to be movie night. Like, how can we not have movie night? How can we not have movie night? Yeah, so we don't get any preview. But those are the people that left. Adriana, I feel like Adriana, I don't feel like I know. Adriana left the villa, and the next time we're going to see her is on the sidelines of the Super Bowl or the All-Star games. She's going to be kissing some quarterback while 6 months pregnant. Ciao. Ciao. We will see Adriana again. Adriana. We will see the Queen of the Dominican Republic. We will see her again. That's all my thoughts for this episode. What do you guys think? I want to start with my super chats first. Let's get into it. Heather, hey Heather, how are you? Thank you so much for the super chat. Heather said, I was surprised to hear Alandria call Austin her bestie of the boys. I wasn't. I actually wasn't, Heather, because when Alandria left the villa and everybody fell out, like the ladies were guttural crying, I knew then. I always knew, but I knew then that this show was even more heavily edited than I imagined. I know reality TV shows are edited like ridiculously, but that let me know, oh, they are doing some deep edits because we never knew these girls were that close like that, or that Alandria was so loved like that. So Alandria and Austin being besties at this point did not surprise me. We've never seen them talk. We've never seen them converse. He hugged her and said, I love you. And when they were doing that whole game, he was talking about how great she is. Like Alandria's, I knew she was loved by the men, especially TJ, Pepe, and Nick, but she's loved by everybody in that villa. So people thinking she's a mean girl is crazy because the cast would disagree. The cast would disagree. Now they won't tell her a secret for good reason, but that didn't shock me. I said, yep, we're not seeing everything. And the way they have edited and chopped this show up, they better stand 10 toes down for that cast. Everybody, before they leave that villa, better get a crazy redemption arc, because I do not think these people are as awful as the show is making them. And that is so unfair. Nonsense Behavior, thank you so much for the super chat. Nonsense said Ace was gagged at Amaya being first and him being near last. The papayas don't play about her because he was thinking that his influence over the men would influence America. Absolutely not. So Lise, thank you for the super chat. So Lise said, hey, Star Fam, I consider tonight a win. Austin left just in time for his holiday. Purr. Thank you so much for the super chat. Her Royal Freshness 84, thank you for the super chat. Her Royal Freshness said, I can't believe Sierra stood behind Taylor. She's a pick-me, poor thing. After knowing how he did Alandria, she's a pick-me and Mel-centered. But that's your homegirl. The math ain't mathin'. Yep. Agnes, thank you for the super chat. Agnes said, Taylor is out. Oh, he's definitely next. But here's the thing. Shout out to production again. You can't get rid of Taylor without seeing how he processes the fact that America is on to him. He can't leave yet. We got to see that. We got to see how him and Clark play out now that we know that he's a snake. Now that he knows that we think that he's a snake. Y'all can't, that's content. You can't get rid of him then. You got to keep him. We got to see how this plays out. Rashana, thank you for the super chat. Rashana said, Ace got humbled and Taylor got shamed. Hashtag Team Pamaya. Purr. Susan, thank you for the super chat. Susan said, I have unfortunately dealt with people like Huda. Huda has a lot of reflecting to do in the real world. I understood Shelly's side. Hashtag stop bullying. Thank you so much for the super chat again, Susan. And let me tell you something. I absolutely have dealt with my Hudas in childhood and adulthood. In childhood, I moved around a lot. My dad was in the Navy. Y'all know my story. My dad, struggled, parent of the 90s, struggled with the cocaine like a lot of people. So my life kind of got turned upside down. And so we did like a lot of moving and all of that. So every time I went to a new school, I hated it because I knew I had to like start over. And one of the things was you never wanted to be the child of an addict in the 90s. The bullying was insane. And to add on top of that, I was dark skinned. And people would always like try to try me because I was a very sweet kid, even sweeter adult. But it got to a point where I just couldn't take it anymore because it wasn't so much that the kids were like bullying me that I could not take. It was they were bullying me while I was watching this drug destroy the first man I ever loved. And as a child, I couldn't process this and I didn't know how to. And I remember it was these 3 girls in my school that laid my new school that would lay into me. And I took it and I took it and I took it till one day I made up my mind. I wasn't taking it anymore. And no way am I proud of this, right? But I beat the brakes off of all of them. All of them. I beat the brakes off them heifer. And thank God, see, this is one thing about me. Y'all don't know. I think y'all probably know from meeting my mom. My mom has been popular my entire life. And she was popular before I came into her life. So shout out to my mom being the popular girl that she is, because she had friends at my school that worked in the office. So anytime I got into a fight or did something, they was just like, Nikki. I had favor. So I didn't get suspended as much as I should have gotten suspended. Like, I had crazy favor because I was Melanie's kid. Like, who you're not playing with Melanie's kid. So I had a lot of favor because of that. So I was always kind of protected, but I should have been kicked out of schools a long time ago, especially the way I beat them bullies up. But they never, those were my hooders, and they never bothered me again. And I found out as a child that sometimes putting pause on people work, right? But as I got older, I was just like, I can't, there's consequences when you're older. When you're a kid, people let things go. So I realized as I got older, I got to put the hands down and I gotta start working my wit. And I was already very funny and I was always very witty, but I never knew that I could use that comedy and that wit in war. When I put two and two together, that nobody could touch me. Nobody could touch me because they knew I had hands. Then to find out I got a mouth to go with it, crazy work. Crazy work. So I can't put my paws on my hooders that I come across. But baby, let me tell you, the wit and the comedic timing of this hair girl, I never had another problem with a hooder. I never had it because nobody cares that you're crying. If I got them laughing, nobody cares about those crocodile tears. If I got them thinking, nobody cares about your white adjacency. If I got receipts, you got to see, this is the thing, you got to be smarter than them because hooders are absolutely calculated. And the one thing that you have to realize about hooders is that they have been watching you far longer than you ever knew that they existed. So when you find out or when you meet a hooder, I promise you that hooder has been watching you for months, sometimes years. And they have been watching you, trying to copy you, trying to be you. People don't realize that the hooders are not just these people who are insecure and need love. They are absolute, they have a target and they are obsessed with that target. They want to be in that target skin. They will approach you first as a friend. They never want to be your friend. They just need to get close to you so that they can study you. And then the next thing you know, you're inviting them to things, they're coming and they're getting close to your friends. They're getting close to your family. They're getting close to your man. Until you unknowingly realize that this chick has replaced you in your life. It happens so fast you don't even know what's going on. She got your mother calling you, asking you why you being mean to that girl because she just called her crying, saying that she loves you so much she don't know why you treat her like this. She's been watching you because she plans on replacing you. You better cut them hooders off as soon as you notice them. You better cut them hooders off as soon as you notice them. They are extremely dangerous. I've had my share. I've had my share of hooders. Why? I resonate. No shade. Not being cocky, just being honest. Every room I go into, I own. Don't get mad at me, get mad at God. He gave me this anointing. It is what it is. when people who don't have that or don't feel like they can ever have that, they got to take it. Be careful about them hooders in your life. Heather, thank you for another super chat. Heather said, I want Pepe and Amaya to couple up and get the win. Me too. I think that would be genius. That would be a genius coupling. Nonsense Behavior, thank you for the super chat. Nonsense said, y'all notice Nick gelled his hair back like Elon, and I absolutely hated it. I absolutely hated it. I was like, why is he trying to look like a newborn? It was weird. Dazzy Vaz, thank you for the super chat. Dazzy said, Taylor was looking like somebody's auntie walking up the stairs at the end. I had to rewind it back to make sure it was him. I feel like he spent a lot of summers with his grandma, and that's not shade. All black kids do, especially black American kids. But it's just like, oh my God, you can tell that the majority of the people in his life are old black people, are old country black people, especially old country black woman. He just has their essence. NYC DMP, thank you for the super chat. NYC said, no to instant thoughts, we create winners. No to instant thoughts, we create winners. No to fake people. Period. GP313, who's also a new moderator, love you. Thank you for the super chat. GP313 said, watch at the bar, and it was wild. Everyone was booing Shelly, Taylor, Austin, Zach, and Ace, but the bar was going up for Amaya, the people's princess. Absolutely. My God, today. So we have a lot of comments in here. I'm going to get as many as I can. I will say, I will point you out if you have a terrible opinion, and I will ask you to come up here and defend it. Because if you say it, if you write it, you should be able to defend it with your chest. Don't be a coward. Don't be a coward. So again, I want to try to get as many comments as I can. Mama scrolling. Scroll. I wish they would just let me start for where I want to start. They thought NBC don't want this problem. They knew. The NAACP was waiting. Hey, Denise said, I'm happy at the number of people that went home, and I'm very glad that Austin is gone. I'm not happy with how high Chris ranked right now, but this is the thing. I understand that. He's new. Chris is not problematic in the villa. So I'm not surprised. He's new. Everybody hates the main cast right now, right? So I totally see how he could rate so high. Pepe said, I had to quit a job today and so happy to be here. I was down earlier. Some facilities really have no respect for their nurses, and I'm not risking my license. Amen, Pepe. So glad that you stood on business for your life, for your future, and your mental health. Right now we pray to Palestinian Jesus, dark-skinned Palestinian Jesus with the 3 B curls, and we ask him to look out for you in favor, allow you to get rest and the peace that you need. Allow this time here with us to be joyous and healing and refreshing. And we thank him for your next place of work that will pay you more than you had before, and that it will be a place of peace for you, because you and your license deserve it. And the people need to experience a wonderful nurse like you. I can just, from your time here as a Star family member, I just know that you are an amazing nurse, that you are someone who is loving and caring, and anybody will be blessed to be in your care. So I pray that you find the place that is deserving of you. Proud of you. SL, a new moderator. SL says, so glad ONC are still here. I really don't get the hate towards them, me either. And glad that they had a chat. Now we can get Sierra going next. Oh, we still on CC? Let me tell you something. The Asian community is on her neck. Ah! Child, they got activated. I said, okay. They said we're gonna stand on business with CC. Her Royal Fresher said, like, I can't get over the fact that Taylor is still in the house, and I'm just saying, Alandria, I raised an eyebrow at C for standing behind Taylor. Like, that man took your girl through it, but we know about Miss CC. E for Empathy, a new moderator. E for Empathy, I just want to let you know, my mother loves you. My mother loves you. I think we were heading to Costco, and she just could not stop talking about you. She loves you so much. E for Empathy is talking to our wonderful Star family member, Pepe. She said, you did the right thing, Pepe. Life is too short to stay in a job that doesn't respect you. Amen. Do what you got to do. Give Me Shelter said, Adriana Star fell as soon as Jeremiah went home. Yep, I'm telling you right now, that was a winning couple. Like, what happened? Even Michael B. Jordan was liking posts about her for a short time. Damn, girl, one needs to have a personality for TV too, I guess. Oh, absolutely. My mom, who is going to change her name today. Mom, seriously. This is inappropriate. And I don't think you even know what this sounds like. I know you think this is Miss Melanie real and uncut. It sounds like something else. Raising a Boomer is not for the weak. But my mother, Miss Melanie, who's going to change that name, said, girl, Austin is gone. I know you're so happy about that. My mom could not believe that Austin was still in the village. She was like, Austin is still here. We did it. Because listen, I feel like everybody knows the Black community is activated because y'all never thought we could do what we did to Target. Target play her something. Y'all never thought. We're activated. We are on our Montgomery bus boycott. Play with us if you want. We did it, Joe. Hey, Hannah. Hannah said the producers are really aiming at getting Sierra out so that the Nickelandria ship can happen, especially with that Sierra controversy. I will say this. The Sierra controversy is picking up a lot of heat. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Sierra has left the villa because the Asian community is not taking that easily. They're not taking that lightly, baby. Let me tell you something. I have a very Black timeline. I get Black content and I've worked very hard for it to be like that. I keep on getting these videos from the Asian community in my timeline and I'm like, if it's reaching me, whoo! We might get a Sierra has left the villa. Hey, Yvette, thank you for being here. Yvette said, we have Huda who has crashed out and was abusive and gains followers. We then have Shelly and Alandria who get all this hate and also followers, all because they checked Huda. I do think that there are people who are doing that, but I'm telling you guys, I think it's bots. I think it's bots. This is how elections are won. It is bots. I think it's bots. I think it's AI. I think it's manipulation. I don't think Huda has as much of a following as we are led to believe. Because I even say that from experience. I remember when I went to war the first time with the Hood Rats, and I was clicking on profiles. Some were actually real people, teenagers. Gen X, your children are bad. I'm sorry. They are bad. Not millennials, the ones responsible for Gen Alpha. No, that's not them. Your kids, bad. Wait, is Gen Alpha teenagers? I sound like a damn boomer. Gen X, them kids is bad. Them kids is bad. They just, what are they watching and listening to? Y'all gotta check the content that your kids are consuming because they were saying some racist stuff, and I'm just like, this is like 1920 step and fetch it, birth of a nation racism. Where are y'all learning this stuff? These words. Like, no way your Gen X parents taught you this. They are being radicalized by the internet to be the Hitler Youth. Y'all have to check them iPads, check them iPhones and Androids and that computer. Your kids are in the dark, on the dark web, just having a good old time dancing with remix. Get them babies. Anyway, other times it's absolute bots. It's people with 2 followers, no activity, no reshares, nothing. It's bots. It's bots. Oh, Lavender Girl said, Wish we got to see more of Jaden. I will say I liked Odd Jaden. She was good TV. Nikki Nick said, glad Amaya got the love that she deserved, and Clark caught all the strays. I am glad too. I'm glad that Amaya could see how she was so loved and appreciated because she was feeling down about herself with how the men in the villa has been treating her. Um, they won't. Her Royal Freshness says, so my out list has changed. I'm adding Sierra to the list now. I see you now, girl. You definitely see Alondria as a threat. Ciao. Kingdom said, I think Sierra just saved Taylor for Nick since they're friends. I absolutely do that too. I don't think that was for Alandria. I think she saved Taylor because whatever Nick tells her to do now, she's going to do. Paulo Girl said, question, Nikki, do reality TV shows provide mental health after the cast gets out? I always wondered. No. They provide it while they're there, and it is optional for the cast if they want it, but it's not going to be for long. So I hope this show changes it, because there's no way that they should let these people out of this villa and not have some kind of protection. NBC needs to use their money and their weight as one of the big three networks to protect this cast. It is unfair to release them to the violence, the racism, the misogyny, the xenophobia that they will be victims of. It is unfair. It is unfair. All Day Finesse said, if people think that people don't like Taylor because he chose Clark and not that the way he went about it, then I simply say, go with God, Crispy. Oh my God. I know that's right. Spectator View said, misogyny and racism on display with these people. Oh, absolutely. But the sad part about it is coming from young people who think, I knew when trolling culture got popular that we were going to be in a very dangerous place. To now, we've had a troll as president twice. It is very dangerous. And it is this trolling culture among young people. We're just like, oh no, I'm just trolling. You are saying nasty, violent, racist, hateful, murderous things. And then you're just like, oh, I'm just trolling. That should have never been acceptable. But here we are. So the misogyny and the racism, they're saying that it's not that because they're just trolling. And because these people are getting popular and being popularized. I think I'm saying his name right, Kai Cenat. I see him in commercials. He was at the BET Awards, and I'm just like, this kid is a troll. That is his content. But it's just because he's popular. People are like justifying him being in spaces where he should not be. You are legitimizing his content. And it's extremely dangerous, especially for the younger generation. She really does. She really, really does. But it just shows how untrained she is. Like, I am somebody who, I am never mad that social media is making social media, like reality TV shows, is giving people who would not have an opportunity had they not been legitimate celebrities, right? Had they not become a celebrity because of their talent. I am fine with people finding different avenues to get put on. I have no issue with that, because I feel like these outside platforms that are not like A-list Hollywood really gives people who are not white, not male, and not rich opportunities that they would have never received had it not been for these platforms. So I'm not saying that she is not worthy to be in this position. I'm saying you can now see why it's better to pick someone who knows this job, has done this job, has studied for this job, has trained for this job, and has the experience to do said job. Because sometimes when you pick an influencer, when you pick a reality TV star, you see why you should have went with the trained individual. That training is important. The experience is important, because then you have these kind of situations. Because a trained host would know the responsibility of their position and the weight of their words and would not have used it as loosely, their position as loosely as Ariana. She needs to be checked, and she needs to apologize, and she needs to keep her opinions about the cast to herself. Because at this moment, while this show is airing and while you are still contracted by NBC, you are an entity of this show. You are an extension of this show, and you are working and representing this show. You are not up there representing yourself as a personality. You are that when this show ends. Right now, you are the property of NBC Universal, and you have to act like it. You cannot be sloppy with this position. And that interview, while not malicious, I don't think her intent was malicious. It was sloppy, and it was completely irresponsible. And it disappointed a lot of people who thought that even she was someone who was aware of the climate that we are in and aware of the treatment that Shelley and Alondria would be receiving by this fan base. She should have known better. And it was irresponsible of her to do something. Alexa said, Ariana is a fan of the show. She tends to forget that she has a bigger responsibility as the host. What she said was unnecessary. Absolutely. And I thought that. I'm telling you, when I saw, she did a post under somebody's comments, and she wrote Team Alondria. And I love Alondria. I was just like, I thought that was something she should not have done. I was just like, you can't do that, especially when it's a game show, and especially when money is at the end of this game show, because it shows that you are giving preferential treatment to certain contestants. And then it looks like the game is compromised. It's not smart. It's not smart. And I love me some Alandra. But when I saw that, I was just like, I wouldn't have wrote that. You know what I mean? I would not have wrote that. 7, watch your tone. Right? You're in my house. I'm not in yours. If you think you could do what I do, get a channel and do it. Watch your tone. Okay? And I see that you are Black. I don't know if this is Black, AI blackface. I don't know. Digital blackface. But if you are a Black woman dying on the hill of protecting a white woman with a lot of influence who irresponsibly use that influence to target to dark-skinned Black women, because you don't look light or mixed. I'm just saying, for you to defend that, I feel sorry for you. I feel really, really sorry for you. It's embarrassing, to be quite honest with you. Ariana loves PLC. How do you know that? Because she hop on PLC peeing every night? That don't mean a damn thing. Hello, Thomas Jefferson. You too big to be that foolish. And I'm not talking about the size. I don't know how big you are. I'm talking about age, big age. At your big age. Because you look a little millennial. You shouldn't. Let's do better. Let's do better. Again, watch your tone. And if I misinterpreted your tone, come up here and defend it. Let me know. Come up here and defend it. Because that's again, I always say this, and I'll say it again if you're new here. I am a Black woman from the Philadelphia inner city. I try my best, but at times I can always kind of misinterpret tone because of where I'm from. And I just have to be honest about that. And I've absolutely been working on that. But Sometimes I may read or hear things one way, and it might just be my Philadelphia inner city ears hearing that or feeling that. So I could be wrong. But that tone that I read or that I read it in vexed me. Now, if I read it wrong, let me know. I'll apologize. I don't have a problem with apologizing. Please. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm right about everything. I will not have the Lord humble me. Absolutely not. Lesson learned off camera. B. Nichols said, unpopular opinion, maybe, but it's been like 2 years, and I don't think Ariana can be playing victim anymore. I'm gonna give her grace with that because I don't think that any of us are in the position to judge how long it takes somebody to heal. There's things that happen to me I'm still healing from 2 decades ago. That woman was humiliated in front of the world. That's gonna take some time to heal. Letitia said, why is the host even interviewing? Where do they do that at? Since social media, people have been forced to engage with the audience. I hope we get out of that because I think we need some distance. I think we need some distance. Here's the thing. She was saying that she thinks that they were insecure because of Huda's moves, right? Or Huda's body or something like that. And again, I don't think it was malicious. But that's the problem when you're the host of the show. You should not have an opinion about the contestants. Your only opinion, only thing she should be saying is she loves everybody and she wants everybody to be kind to them because they don't understand what these people are enduring. She should be the one telling everybody to be nice, to be civil to these people. She should not be giving opinions about anything because she started off that interview with saying that she didn't even see the challenge. So to have an opinion on the heart rate challenge and you didn't see it made no sense. But again, she is not a host. This is new for her. And she got a huge job on the world stage. People were like, Maya Jama would never. Well, the girl is trained in that. She's trained. That's why for me, training over personality. I don't care. You can have a good personality. I'm going to work with the person that's trained because I know they're going to protect my money better than that personality. Devonda said, I seen some reviewers saying that Orlandria was humbled, especially some on YouTube. Humble where? We don't know. Like they don't know. They don't know what's happening outside of this villa. They don't know what's happening. I want to get, who didn't I call on? Opulent. Opulent said, as Gen Z, what Nikki said is so true. Growing up, even my class was segregated, and we were always taught to hear both sides, even if they're harmful. I feel like that's a huge part of the problem. Absolutely. Absolutely. We do not need to hear everybody's opinion. Some people have terrible opinions. And I think this also comes from giving everybody a trophy. Everybody's a winner. Nobody's a loser. No. There are certain people in life who are just going to be losers. And that is where they need to stay. And I say that because we have done this thing. We want to give everybody a fair shot. We want to give everybody a chance. We want to give everybody a platform. We want to give everybody the mic. And then you give the mic to the people who are born to be losers. And this is what you get. You give them the mic and then you realize, oh, this is why you should never have influence. This is why we should have never given you a platform. They're a loser for a reason. It's sad to say, but that is the reality. And I think we all had to learn it the hard way because I was that person. I was the one who was just like, everybody should have a chance. Everybody needs to be heard. I take that back. I take that back. We should have left Charlie Kirk and the inbred cave he was born in. We should have never known what that man sounded like or looked like. But here we are. He has influence. My God, today. Scooter said the Hood fans aren't smart enough to vote correctly. Instead of voting for people at risk, they voted for the. Isn't that always the case? Hey, Nicole. Cole said, and why did they kick off Yulissa, but they've done nothing about Sierra's post that has been circulating for a week? It's because of the traction that it has gotten. For Yulissa, this is what happened. Yulissa did a video about being a Trump supporter, right? And she had a Trump hat on, and she was like a really active Trump supporter and going to parades and everything. Cubans for Trump. She was very much, I will vote for Donald Trump. Very much doing all of that. So people clocked in and was like, oh, okay. But you can't kick somebody off the show because of their political beliefs. But one thing that my community knows about Trump supporters is that not very smart, not bright. I don't want to say dumb because the Lord is working on me, but also extremely racist. So we knew with this girl, as much as she wanted to be seen, we knew that we were going to catch her in something. We just had to do the digging. And we found it. It wasn't that hard. We found it. And as soon as we found it, we blew that up to the point where you cannot search her name without that incident being attached to it. That is what the Asian community has to do. You got to blow it up. You have to make it a problem for everybody because it's a problem for you. And people don't care, especially in America. If it ain't concerning me, I don't. That's how Americans are. Americans are very selfish. Nothing about community. If it does not affect me, I do not care. That is the American way. You have to make it everybody's problem. You have to be that kid that goes in the lunchroom and somebody stole your lunchroom ticket. You got to be the one to go, hey, does anybody know where my lunchroom ticket is? Because if I can't find this ticket, I can't eat. You got to be that one kid who nobody responds to you. Everybody act like they can't hear you. You got to be that kid to go to every lunch table and knock everybody's lunch off the table. Because if I can't eat, you can't eat. You have to make Sierra saying that racist slur everybody's problem. And you have to let everybody know your power. So, you don't want to hear me? Okay, my community loves this product. We're not buying it. We're going to find somebody. Let's say, I'm just saying this is an example. Let's say Asian people love Nabisco. Love Nabisco. Asians love Nabisco crackers. Y'all have to immediately take that financial power from Nabisco. Nabisco has already given his show. See, this is the thing. Y'all got to learn this. Nabisco's already given his show for this season at least $10 million in commercials. Nabisco got to make up for that $10 million they gave to this show. And they gave that show $10 million because they think they're going to make $20 million from that $10 million investment for that commercial. Now, Nabisco see, because they did that commercial for the Asian people that are watching the show. Now, Nabisco sees that all of a sudden, all of their profits are dropping drastically. They're going to want to figure out what the hell is going on. And when that money start missing, Nabisco going to be like, you know what? We had about 3 more commercials lined up for you guys. We're just going to put a pause on those commercials and on that money because we're losing money right now because you have a contestant on there that offended the community that pays me. Black Americans didn't get the things that they got in this nation because Americans are so kind and so empathetic and they felt so bad for the people that they enslaved, raped, and lynched. Nah. We're not here because of morality. We're not here because of empathy. We're not here because of the good white Christians. We're here and have this status that we do as a people because we spend $3 trillion a year in this damn nation. And because this culture from this little bitty community has touched every corner of the world. And everything that people in America and outside of America love about America is because of Black Americans. So America knows not only do they spend, they got the influence that keeps us being that girl above everybody else. We can't piss them off. We can't do that. So they knew not to touch them sisters in that villa or give that plantation princess from Cuba any more airtime, because that influential community that spends $3 trillion a year in the United States of America don't play about their people. And if we cross them, they are going to hit our advertisers. Everybody that's paying a commercial to Black American has influenced that company in some kind of way. And they don't want to mess with that. So that's what y'all got to do. Go for the money. Y'all keep on trying to plead with them. Be kind to us. Be nice to us. We're human beings. That doesn't matter here. It's money. It's money. You think that Black man from Harlem that has abused everybody in the music industry is about to walk because of morality and empathy in the United States of America? That Black man is about to walk because he's still a billionaire. He's still a billionaire. Money is always money. Hit them in their pockets, Asian community. Find out who the advertisers are. Hit them in their pockets. Find your most influential Asian politician, Asian actress. Find them and put them to work. Sierra, we'll get a Sierra has left the villa in no time. Tony H said, Amaya, I know she's beloved, but I can't root for her. Zach was being direct and gentle, and she just don't like what he said. I think he was gaslighting her. I think he was gaslighting her, Tony. I absolutely do. Zach was wrong. Amaya was already being piled on. Why did he add to it? Why did he add to it? He didn't. He added to it because of his big age. He's following the lead of a 22-year-old. Say what you want about Ace. He needs to go into politics. He needs to go into politics. Metamorphosis said, Miss Amaya from the Bronx, like, girl, if she could fight men, she would. Yeah, listen, I'm from Philadelphia. And I lived in New York for 2 years. Them people fight over nothing. Everybody in New York City fights. The first fight I ever witnessed in New York City was between an Indian woman and a Jamaican woman. And they were middle-aged women and they had hands. I was a kid. I was 18. I was like, oh my God. And I'm looking to see if people were going to stop them. Nobody stopped them. Everybody kept their head straight. Like they didn't see these two women going blow for blow. Those people fight over nothing. She's crying because she can't get violent. That's part of the New York personality. That's why I'm just like, I don't know why people try to go over there and play with them people. They are brawlers at heart. At heart. Rosanna said, Amaya and Pepe should just have fun and go for the win. I wouldn't mind if they couple up like friends. Why not? Everybody will make them win. I agree with it too. I agree with it too. Poliver Girl said, Amaya is my unicorn. She's just raw emotion. As an epileptic, I do relate. Whatever moves her. Me, my brain just glitches. Oh, totally understandable. She's my unicorn too. I like her. Hey, Candace. Candace said, I respect that he told her he was the man that Taylor could never be. It was Amanda Taylor. Who? Who? What we talking about, Candace? Springtime said everyone in the villa is exhausted, and that was the most energy we saw her have. True. Hey, Peyton. Payne said, notice they didn't give us a part two for the game. Half the people didn't even read. Absolutely not. They said, you're not going to mess up my coin. CC said, forever on Chelsea's side, and they missing her point over and over. Of course. Of course. I'm like, are we all watching the same show? Unique said, I definitely side with Shelly. The only reason he's not exploring is because nobody else wanted him. He was sloppy seconds to Taylor. Absolutely. If Adriana wanted him, he would be exploring. Zora said, I think Huda has never been in a sitch where a dark-skinned woman was picked over her. I want her to free herself. Your worth isn't being chosen by a man. Neither is Shelly's. Amen. I absolutely agree because like I expressed before, I think that Huda dates black men with low racial self-esteem. So she is the kind of non-black woman who was told by these men that she was better than black women, especially dark-skinned black women. So for her to not only have to compete and lose to a black woman who is dark, it is frying her brain. She cannot compete with a black woman who black men date. Like, the majority of black men do not date outside. And I think she's only been exposed to white adjacent black men. So her not being the most desired in this villa is messing with her because she's just like, blacks are here. Aren't I the best? That's what you get for listening to a man. Yasmin said, I love seeing Ace in Austin's face after Amaya was voted favorite. Take that. I will say this. Did you guys hear Austin say, Ace, I'm going to save you for last or something like that? Did y'all hear that? I'm going to go back and watch the episode when I'm done here. And I want to go back and see what happened with that. Because I was like, what happened? They think that Huda can attract anyone because of what they are seeing in the media. The media is a liar. The media is a liar. The media never tells the truth. Never, ever tells the truth. So again, normally when you are seeing black men in like high places or in the media, they're always with a non-black partner. And you can assume if you don't know black people, if you haven't grown up around people, you can assume that is what all black men do. And it's just not the case. It's just not true. You are not seeing black men who grew up in black neighborhoods, went to black schools, had black teachers, went to black churches. You are seeing black men who probably lived in a black neighborhood, but was bussed off or shipped off to a white family to raise him from young, that's being paid by some university to groom this kid so that they can want to go to that all white school. So from a kid, they're in an all white household, going to an all white school, being groomed by white people to hate blackness. So by the time they're still a kid, by the time they get in a position where they have all of this money and power and influence, they have been heavily influenced by whiteness. So their influence goes back to the white community and their money is put back into the white community because everybody knows that the woman is the influence. So that black man with all of that money has a white or non-black partner, and that white or non-black partner is absolutely going to put that money into their community and is absolutely going to influence their children to marry someone from their community. Why do you think the NFL and the NBA look the way it look? I always say people don't realize the influence is women. Women just got to wake up and realize that. Women just got to wake up and realize that. Nobody will watch Love Island for the men. Everybody's watching Love Island for the women. Ain't nobody watching Love Island for them boys. Crafty Beach said Amaya wins all by herself. You would be smart to couple up with her and be sweet. Absolutely. Hey, Spency. Spency said, Chris sounded like such a loser. I could be playing basketball. Girl, why did you apply? You don't have a contract, loser. Ciao. Laura says Sierra showed her tail tonight. Watched her bestie be dragged by Taylor, then voted for him. I wonder how that vote is going to affect their friendship, the sisterhood. I wonder how this is going to affect the sisterhood. Lavender Girl says someone on TikTok did research and he earns average rate. Child, and you know what? I am not on. Forgive me if it came off like that because that was not my intent or my intentions. I want to do what Ariana should do and apologize if it came off that I was downplaying professional basketball players who play overseas. I have people in my family who have done that and they have made a really good living and also have traveled and really just become extremely cultured. I think that is I think that is a great job for anyone who is physically fit and has the ability to do so. All of my comments that I made about Chris were for Chris specifically, not for people who are athletes or professional ball overseas. It was just about Chris. Khalil said, I am not watching, but the men sound super weak for being jealous of Jeremiah and allowing Ace to have so much influence. It's crazy. It is crazy, but that's what we're dealing with. Emelina said, I thought her birthday was the 15th or something. Who are we talking about? Metamorphosis said, Brian and Amaya might actually have a chance, like their interaction seemed genuine, and she actually let him speak. My family and I watching this episode, we mentioned that. We were just like, this is the first guy Amaya let speak. Does she really like him? Is there a real spark? Mari said, oh man, Zach was pissing me off during their chat. Absolutely. He was gaslighting her. Zora said, Zach wanted to gaslight Amaya. Like, okay. All right. Miss Brown Chicken said, production saw how toxic this is getting after festering the toxicity with their edit. Let me tell you something. Love Island, the best example I can give Love Island is that Love Island is the UK whenever there's a war. Because the Brits, whenever there's a war. Because with any war, the Brits are always responsible. At the core of every war, it is the Brits. But they never get called to the table. It's so crazy. It's like everybody is fighting and the Brits started it, but nobody's blaming them for it. That is the best way to describe production. Because everybody is overlooking the fact everybody's fighting about this person, that person. I'm just like, who is stirring the pot? It's the show. The show is stirring the pot. Why are we blaming these contestants and not the show? Baby, they are the UK. Scooter said, no, I think the votes were correct. All the Huda High voted were for their faves and not the randoms. Could be true, Scooter. I wouldn't be surprised. Sydney said, would have preferred the Twitter challenge. Hopefully they don't find a watered down substitute for movie night. We need it to remain as is. I agree. Neville said, I could tell based off how Huda was ranked. How did the bombshells who said nothing been so ciao? Gagged and gooped. Crystal said, I think they didn't announce it. I randomly checked the app in the afternoon and those polls about who was most genuine, and such were there. Only for a short time though. They didn't keep it open long. They must have been waiting for the kids to be at their summer job to drop the polls. They said the kids are in summer school. Drop the polls now. Or camp. Emerald said, and they instead voted out the biggest racist child when he gets out that villa. Lord. Miss Afro Majestic said Taylor and Clark was last for everything, but she was not in the bottom. Taylor, America does not care for you. Listen, he knew immediately. He said it's for the whole Alandria thing. Dreadful said, I would have shut the damn thing off if Shelly had been in the bottom three. They knew. They knew that. Hey, Shyler said, that's what I'm saying. I was so angry when I actually saw people going by Taylor. I knew that Nick and Ace were going to go. And as soon as Nick went behind Taylor, I said, well, there goes Sierra. There goes Sierra. How tragic. I read that in my Dwight voice from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's how I read it. It just sounded like Dwight would say that. Hey, Amaria. Amaria said, yep, I knew she'd stand by Taylor because of Nick. Absolutely. It's a season of pick-me's. Listen, it's unfortunate that younger women have been red pilled. You know, they're 22 years old on TikTok and Instagram making content about being a trad wife. That Nora Smith girl, what child is she on now? What number child is she on? That boy keeps her pregnant. She keeps on having these kids. Married at 18, mom of 4 by 22. Jesus. And she's not stopping. Why are you married with children at 20? You should be at the club. What are you doing? You should be working summer jobs to pay for your like travel backpack across the country. And no shade, mom, earmuff, bang random dudes in Europe. Like, what are you doing? The young girls, oh God. Somebody got to save them. It can't be millennials. We have too much on our shoulders. We got to save the world and a younger generation. Gen X needs to clock in at some point. What the hell are they doing? Anyway, forgive me, Gen X. You guys got to get up and get out the damn house and help us. It's tiring over here. Miss Brown Sugar said we should have more bombshells, but Pepe getting his exact type a third time is slim. Yeah, I don't know. Guys, I think Pepe might self-eliminate. Devonda said the MAGA and Andrew Tate supporters going to get those racists out. They segregated the island. Absolutely. Stop letting those weirdos have so much power. It's weird. Spency said, my Shayla, who do we have to beat up, Nikki? Oh, the funny thing about it is those girls became my best friends. I'm telling you, it was so crazy. Not only did they become like my best friends, they were like beating up people for me. Like if somebody had something to say about me, and they were like, what did you say about Nikki? And I was like, I cannot believe I had to fight you in the 7-Eleven parking lot last year. Crazy. So weird. And it also, because my mom is popular, one of the girls that was like the head bully that bullied me, when her mom found out that me and her got into a fight, she made sure to make it. She made sure to fix it with my mother. Child, I'm the child of the woman that's always been that girl. But I don't fight no more. I'm too pretty. Cree said, I don't think Huda is that much of a bully. She's learning from her mistakes. You know what? I'm gonna agree with you. I don't think she is a bully. I think she's manipulative, and I think she's doing what is absolutely always worked for her. I think her being in this villa is a shock. I honestly do think that is a woman who never thought that a Black woman, especially a dark-skinned Black woman, could be competition, because she is constantly in the presence and constantly betting Black men with low racial self-esteem who say the most nasty and white supremacist things about his own community so that people outside of this community can see him as a safe Black. And so being around those kind of Black men, hearing the things that they say about their own community, you have no choice but to believe those things, especially if you are not in community with other Black people. So she comes into this villa with this personality and this mindset of thinking a certain way because of the white adjacent Black people she has been in the presence of, and she is absolutely gagged. Absolutely gagged. The best example I can give you is that church girl who has done everything right by the way what the church told her, not the Lord, and she's been the good girl. She's been standing beside these men. She saved herself for marriage. She's prayed. She's fasted. She wears the long jean skirt down to her ankle. She does everything to get a man of God, and she gets this man of God, and she can't keep him out the streets. Every time he cheats, she goes on a 40-day fast because it's the devil testing him. And the devil is in the presence of these women who are not saved, as saved as she is. Because the church told her that women like that could never get a man that she desires. And instead of realizing that the church lied to her and getting out of that foolishness, she will villainize those women and call them devils. The devil is the man that you married. But she believes the lies. She believes that that guy was just tempted by Satan. It was just the devil tempting him. No, that's him. That's his personality. And he know that he can treat you that way because he's in a church that teaches the degradation of women. And that woman is taught to suffer for that man. So she thinks that this is God's will because that is what she has been told and that is what she has digested, only to get in the real world and to find out that ain't none of that true. That's what's happening to Huda. The villa is not the real world, but it is not her environment. And this girl is gagged. Why are all the guys making her pancakes? Why are all the guys giving her preferential treatment? Because outside of your community, she's the standard. She's the standard. And she cannot fathom men not desiring her because she has done everything she could to her body and her personality to look like and act like the women that are always getting the men she wants. And she's done all of this and it's still not enough. Yikes. NYC DNP said, I love to meet Nikki. I would love to see if she saw what she saw in me, and I would love to see if she was surprised to find a Robin to her Batman. Oh, we'll meet soon. We'll meet soon. My sister and I are we're planning some events. We'll meet soon, guys. Hannah said, Hood is the type of girl who has black friends while hating them and wishing she could look as good as us. Absolutely. But we also have to realize with I've seen in some friend groups, I won't just say it's a younger generation thing. I think it's just like a pick-me thing, right? And where these friend groups are not really, their friendship is not based on a strong foundation. It's based on looks. Like those girls are just like, I only hang with baddies. Every girl that I hang out with is a baddie. All my besties are baddies. So she only comments about how her friends look and how they are desirable, but nothing, you don't hear nothing else about her in that friend group. And then as soon as they go to Miami, everybody falls out because there was never a friendship they had a strong foundation. I think that is also her friend group. We're all baddies. We're all baddies. All we do is get NFL and NBA players. That's the only guys we bag. We bag N-words with money. That's it. That's the foundation. The foundation is based on being 304s. That's the foundation. And not saying that this is shit, you know what I mean? But that's like a lot of these women are glorifying a 304 lifestyle, not really understanding the work that has to be put into it, right? So they get heartbroken and upset when, you know, the guy doesn't stay, or when the baby gets in the mix and the guy doesn't want the baby, but it's just like, honey, they were only here for one thing. You should have listened to the 304s who just said securing a bag. You secured a child with a deadbeat. And you thought because of your skin color and your hair texture that he would stay. Yikes. But I think she has black girls who have the same kind of thinking that she does. The baddies. Give Me Shelter said, you can see the devious thought behind Huda's eyes, an opportunity to sell out the black woman for even the smallest reward. She will. Black women understand You are the blueprint no matter what they say. Yes, the blueprint, the beginning. Emerald said, I genuinely think production told Sierra to stand behind Taylor or Adriana since they were the only people with the same amount of people behind them, because no way. It was weird. It was weird. But I was just like, when she did it, I was just like, it's Sierra. Miss Brown Sugar said, baby, some of these teenagers have millennial parents. My friends have kids in high school and just starting college. Oh God, are millennials responsible for this too? Yikes. It's very scary. Like, all jokes aside, it's very scary, the things that your kids are saying. Y'all have got to watch what they are watching, parents. Check in. You have no idea. You could be housing the next mass shooter. These kids are consuming some dark stuff. Very dark. I'm trying to get people I haven't called. Oh, Blended Dream said, I've just seen an ad with Jeremiah and Odell Beckham Jr. Well, he's an actor. So I wouldn't be surprised if if you did see him in a commercial, it's probably old. He's an actor. They're all actors. They all came out here. The people in LA all came out to LA to be actors. So I'm not surprised. JL said, I'm disappointed in Sierra. She used the slur twice. Ooh, it was a choice. It just showed you never know who has the hate until they reveal themselves. Here's the thing with Sierra. Two things could be happening here. One, she doesn't know that's a slur. She's heard it used and is just using it because that's how she heard eyes described, right? Or two, she knows it's a slur and doesn't care because she doesn't think that community has any power to harm her. It's up to Sierra and her team with how they are going to handle that. If I was her team, I would be apologizing and being like, that is not something. Y'all cannot let this fester. Somebody needs to get on top of it. And the only reason why I'm saying is she doesn't know it could be that she doesn't know that that's a slur. It's because I've used a slur on here twice for two different communities. One time I was talking about a show, one of my favorite shows, the Traveler Sisters. It wasn't called it's on TLC. It's called the G Word Sisters. It's about these Romney Child people who live in Pennsylvania, and all they do is scam and fight. And it was one of my favorite shows. And I remember I was on my live years ago, and I said that, and somebody was like, "Oh, Nikki." And I was like, "What?" Because I did know that, right? I did know that it was a slur, right? I thought they had reclaimed it because the show is about them, and they say it all the time. Like, they were all calling themselves that, right? So I thought it was something that they reclaimed, and they even said that's what they called us back then. But now this is who we are, and we say it with pride. I didn't know that was their N-word. I was unaware that was their N-word, and that, yes, that's what they can call themselves. You can't. And I'm like, well, how the hell do we tell people to watch this show? How do you advertise this show? They allowed that. It was just confusing. It was confusing, but I learned something. And the reason why I learned something, because it was somebody who was Romney Child in the chat who was just like, oh no, girl, you got too much dip on your chip. And then same thing about Inuit people. I used to call them the E word. That's what, and I was talking about, the Inuit people. And I said, I described them as the E, the starts with the E, ends with chemos. And I had an Inuit person in the chat. The Star family is global. They said, absolutely not. That is not what we're called. And I was like, I have been since I was a kid. You know what I mean? I didn't know. But I've never grown up around Inuit people. I've never met, I've never even met an indigenous person. Ain't that something? I met a Quaker, never met an indigenous person, an indigenous to this land. So stuff like that happens. So I'm gonna give her that. Even if I give her that, her team need to be on it. Like, y'all know what's happening. Y'all know what's happening. Because I can't sit here and say there are some slurs. I had no idea. No idea. There's another word that I've been in my vocabulary. I just had to stop using it because I'm like, oh, that's what that means? Lord, Lord, child. Either way, her team, they're not protecting her. They are not protecting her. Dreadful said, I don't agree with what she said about Huda and Shelley. Didn't hear the interview at all, but I don't mind the support of women, which is how it came off in the past. I agree. I agree with that. Khalil said, opinions versus facts. They have no proof. It's an assumption. A person's character at work, a different person from home. Code switching. Ciao. Oh yeah, she did it with the guy who was just like, you like being dominated. Listen, these people don't want to go back to their jobs. Like, nobody wants to go back to being a Wendy's shift manager. They want to make these 15 minutes stretch, and I don't blame them for that. Betty said, we got to get Hurricane Huda that likes to play victim, especially against Black women, before she gets pushed to the Final Four. Her toxic behavior after terrorizing the villa for weeks cannot be rewarded. I think she is on her way to be second place if they don't pull out movie night. My address said, how can you call anyone other than Huda insecure? Huda is a damn train wreck. It's like people got amnesia and they didn't know that for the first 2 weeks of this show, she terrorized everybody. OMG. Every time. Every time. You want them to respect you, threaten them with being poor. Please. They don't do things for the Black community because they love us or they care about us or we're important. They know we will cut them finances off quickly, and we won't return. Captain for Creativity said Pepe ran to console Iris first. I said in my review, and I'll say it again, that I won't be surprised if Pepe and Iris couple up and end up in the top 4 because they both gained a lot of followers. But see, did they gain a lot of followers because the fan base likes them, or did they gain a lot of followers because the racists jumped in and wanted to switch and wanted to change the results of the game? Because here's the thing. I feel like the people who were doing all of that voting, trying to get Shelley and Alondria out, I feel like now that they know that the show is hip to them and won't give them the results that they want, I don't think they're going to stick around for the show. They were just here to cause chaos and confusion. And now that they see that they can't do that, I do not think they're going to stick around. They are dementors and tormentors. They want the misery that lives inside them. It has fully consumed them to the point where now they're vomiting it out, and they have to cause harm wherever they go because the misery that has crippled them has fully consumed them and it has no place to go. So they got to spit it and spread it out different places. So now that they've seen that they can't poison this pool, they're going to find something else. They're going to find, because they're not going to get the reward that they wanted. Their reward was getting the Blacks off the show. It didn't work. The show is on to them. They're not going to let them manipulate this game. They'll move on to something else. Right? What did he mean by that? We never saw it. And I'm going to watch it again to see if they took it out. We never saw it. He said, I'm going to save you for last. What's going to happen? We never got to see it. Her Royal Freshness said, Chris about to see what Hurricane Huda is about. Don't save him. He don't want to be saved. I'm telling you, if he tries to become sweet on Shelly again, it's over for him. Malak said this fake sisterhood that they forced themselves into ruined the season. Absolutely. Absolutely. She's going to come out to the Asian community on her top and all them Nicolandria edits. And to find out that she is not liked because she doesn't know that, guys. She has no idea. She thinks she's doing a great job in this villa. She thinks that she's giving everybody a great show. And her being an influencer and her livelihood being attacked like that. I hope they have mental help for all these kids. I hope they have mental health. This is crazy. This is crazy. Irene said that was very odd from Sierra because I thought that Alondra was your girl, Sierra, but not surprised. I'm telling you, it's these poor red pill children. Paloma Girl said, oh, you were speaking to somebody. K Pratt said, Nara is knowingly married to a Trump supporter, so I think she's exactly where she wants to be. If she's married to a Trump supporter, she's a Trump supporter. Her when she got them box braids when people were calling her and her husband Trump supporters, that didn't fool me. I know who you are. I know who you are. And that's exactly what happens. See, this is the thing. Because I'm a 90s kid, I grew up on A&E and the History Channel. And one thing about the History Channel, they were going to let you know about Hitler and Nazism. I know that entire Nazi playbook to the T because of the History Channel. I know a lot about the mob too because of the History Channel. Anyway, one thing that that I learned from watching the History Channel's coverage of Hitler's rise to popularity is that he used people of prominence, but especially people of color of prominence to convince people of color that the Jews were evil, that the Jewish community was evil people. And it wasn't because he wanted people of color to be Nazis and to be a part of the movement. It was because he needed to isolate the Jewish community, to get everyone to believe that they were bad and that they were better than them. And as soon as he convinced everybody that the Jewish community was so human, people were so bad to the point where he can usher an entire community, force an entire community of people into human ovens and burn them to a crisp, while humans burn them to dust, while humans sat there, heard the screams of men, women, and children and did nothing. Not only did they do nothing, they justified those people's slaughter. And as soon as he got everybody to believe that and everybody to stand by and do nothing as he killed that community, what did he do next? He put them people of color in the same ovens. So they will always use people who look like you to isolate one community. So what they are doing now, especially on these social media pages, is getting people of color, to push their agenda. So now you have young Black girls, especially young Black girls with low racial self-esteem, who look at Nora as Black and want to be that kind of Black, following in her lead. Because right now, the people that we are focusing on in America that do not matter, that everybody that they're trying to get us all to believe are evil, it's the Latino community. So you watch how you treat them, you think you're better, and then you look at how everything is treated, you turn away, you let it happen, and then you do not realize that when they're gone, You're the next community being pushed into the oven. That's exactly what they're doing with that girl. And she's allowing it because she thinks that she's the good one. She thinks that she'll never, ever see that oven because she's following the line. She's following all the rules. She's doing what they tell her. Okay. We will see. We will see how that goes. Do you know you have 30 minutes? Yikes. I'll give her grace because she's young. But my God, today is her content harmful. Yvette said Huda apologized to get an apology back, period. She has not learned anything. She weaponizes her tears, acts like a victim, cries about it, and then expects people to feel sorry for her. It is manipulation. It has worked. It has worked every time. Poliver Girl said, in my opinion, Huda is uncomfortable with her Arab culture too. So she finds other imposter men in her culture, in any culture, and goes for it. I wouldn't be surprised if that actually is true. I won't necessarily that she is uncomfortable with her Arab culture, probably uncomfortable looking Arab because listen, let me tell you something. I've been in America a long time. If Huda looked the way she looked before those surgeries, she wouldn't have no sympathy. No shade. In that villa with black people, the only N-word in that villa would have been Huda with her original face. Ciao. Child, the white ruling class do not like black people, but the Arab community, I don't. Baby, my God, today, if she had her original face, that beautiful Arab nose, stunning. Not in America. Not in America. You think the Kardashians would have had as much power as they have now had they looked Arab? Oh, baby. Absolutely not. They had to chop up their faces to look like white women. That's the only way they would have got that influence. Kim Kardashian with that beautiful Arab nose that she cut off. You think she would have been? Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Pepe said those Miami fallout trip girls are too common for self-proclaimed baddies. Their own worst enemy. Then they'd be on live arguing about who slept with whose boyfriend. Ciao. SL said it could also be where she's from. I'm from Hawaii, and we don't have a lot of Asians here. So I knew of the slur word she used. I remember people use. I don't think we should write that out. Oh, to slant their eye. Okay. To slant their eyes and say it's Asian, sadly. I remember that too in school. I absolutely remember that. You know what? Now I'm thinking about, I don't think that should have happened because I remember a kid doing that, and I remember his hands getting popped by a teaching assistant, a TA. A TA popped his hands and told him not to do that. She was right, but wrong. There was another way to do that. But back in the day, they was hitting kids in school. Child, remember them kids that go to Catholic school? Woo! They used to beat the brakes off them children. But yeah, that's when I knew that it was wrong. Because I saw that and I was like, ooh, let me not do that. You know? He did that. I was like, ah! Oh my God, lesson learned. Lesson learned. My God, today. He wasn't even doing that to talk about Asian person. He was doing that. Oh, my best friend. I had a Russian best friend in school. Laura, hi. If you ever see this, I love you and I miss you. Hope we can link up. She was a foreign exchange student because I was very smart, still am. I used to always like finish my schoolwork, and I was just always ahead of the class. So they would always give me the ASL students. So I used to teach, I would teach Laura how to speak English. And I also had a kid from, I think it was the DR or Cuba. Juanito, what's up? Juanito and Laura, hi. And I taught them both, how to speak proper English. Yes. Shout out to Juanito and Laura. Hope you all are doing great. Unique said, child, please. Candace is being pushed into that oven. She'll help Rump get elected now. They don't need her anymore. She's trying to backtrack. She's trying to backtrack. It will not work. You are never the exception. You will never be picked. 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 It's never going to happen. You will be used. Every token gets spent, but you will never be picked. Give me something said, I saw who this old face embodied on her page. That girl didn't have the legs. Bottom for it's a whole new person. Listen, I'll give it to her, money well spent, but I don't think that she was unattractive before. But again, that has an effect on younger communities. Like, thank God for my family. Thank God for my mother, right? I am a dark-skinned Black woman with my beautiful ancestral features, okay? If I did not have Black women, Black people pouring into me daily and letting me know that I am beautifully, beautiful and wonderfully made, there is no mistake about me. My skin is one of the best features that I have. My beautiful lips, my beautiful nose that resembles, it resembles my ancestors and those who have come before me, that my face, this skin is this hair texture. This is a love letter to my people, and it is a reminder that Black love survived. If I didn't have that, Lord knows what I would be looking like on here. Lord knows who I will look like. It is very important, especially as a person of color, to pour into your child that they are, especially in America, that they are beautiful and nothing is wrong with them. They are perfect. Because if you don't, they will do all kinds of things to their body. That young woman whose body is still growing and developing and changing, risk her life. She's a mother. Risked her life getting multiple surgeries. A lot of them 3 months before she got to that villa, so that she can look like something that the global minority could never look like. It's just like Hitler saying that blonde hair and blue eyes is the best thing and the most beautiful thing, what everybody should have, when he had brown hair and brown eyes. Nobody thought that was crazy. Nobody thought that was crazy, but everybody just went along with it. Insane. But I don't think that that's shocking. It's happening. Vanna, 21, face hasn't even fully developed, and it probably never will be able to, because of everything that child has done to her face and her body. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And it's not a read. It's not shade. It's not a gotcha. It's sad that women who are not even 30 think that they have to do all of that to be accepted. And then to find out it's not even enough. You still can't get picked? After risking your life, you still can't get picked? It's a mental hell. It's a mental hell. A mother put herself on a surgeon's table, knocked herself out with anesthesia, and slowed her heart down so surgeons could cut her up and twist and manipulate her body to look like a person she can never recognize. And she still can't get picked. Crazy. GP 313 said, I went to a small private Christian school, and heck yeah, they hit us. If I ever see my 8th grade child, Child. Like, I get, like, listen, the lady was wrong, but she was also right because it taught me a lesson. I didn't even know what that was, but I never tried it. This is so sad. I didn't know what that was, but I never did it. Now, when I got older, I understood. But baby, that pop changed me. Peyton says Nick's sister went on TikTok and said she was shook and kind of just left in plain wonder if she was talking about Sierra. Who knows? But all the families need to stop talking because I feel like, no shade, but Nick's mom kind of really set the Nicolandria in motion. Oh my God, the families are coming next week. Oh, thank you. Because I was wondering about the Kardashians. If they're not Arab, they're Caucasian. Well, are they Caucasian? I thought they're Caucasian on census, but I don't. They don't get treated like Caucasians. And remember, they fought for the right to be considered white in America. Do y'all know that? They were considered Arab until they. Child, I get it though. I absolutely get it. Kaylee said, child, all the Islanders are going to need therapy the way this French. Absolutely. And they need to pay for it. They need to pay for it because these kids, it's going to be hell for them. They're not even going to be able to enjoy this. Devonta said, why is Sierra getting Botox injections in her 20s when I know people get it when they're in their 50s? Insecurities. The cat lady, that famous socialite they call her Catwoman, her before pictures, I can't believe she believed anybody that called her ugly. So sad. Dreadful said, Vanna said that she had an allergic reaction to the pillow, and I believe it. She was already looking better on the show. She looked perfectly fine on the bow files. I believe that too. Her under eye was crusty and puffy, and if I have an allergic reaction, that absolutely happens to me. So I believe it. Pepe said, my little sister's a chocolate version of me, and I would always ask my mom why she's more lenient on her. And she said the world won't treat her the same. Yep. My parents always taught us to love our blackness. Great parents. You have to. It's mental warfare out here. Mental warfare out here. Malik said, I've literally seen girls as young as 13 years old get gastric bypass surgery. It's insane how people are risking for beauty standards set by men who don't even look like the beauty standard. Ain't that crazy? Anytime there's a man hating on a woman, especially on social media, under her comments, you click on a man, it's the most hideous thing you've ever seen. Crazy work. That's why I don't think it's cute that the little girls, the Sephora girls, the little girls that be going and trying on makeup and skincare, and they're all obsessed with Sephora right now. I don't think it's cute, and I don't think that parents of young girls should participate in that. That their minds are already getting messed up. That they at 13 think that they need all this expensive skincare. Your skin is just growing. You don't need nothing. You don't need nothing. I don't think that's cute. Give me Schultz said, Armenian Americans are generally considered white under the U.S. federal racial classification, specifically by the U.S. Census. They are grouped under the broader category of white non-Hispanic. Absolutely. And they fought for that right. Kingdom said the cast of Vanderpump Rules was on Watch What Happens Live and got asked why they get Botox in their 20s, and they all said it's preventive in unison. How are you preventing something when it hasn't even happened? You're getting filler on top of the good collagen? They tearing themselves up. Oh yeah. Now stuff like that. I remember Noxzema. Remember the Noxzema commercials? Clarisil and all that stuff. Stuff like that is fine. But like these kids are using like retinol and all this stuff. It's crazy. Like, why the hell do you have Sunday Riley? What are we doing? We're losing the plot. Oh, thank you. Love you, Denise. I'm going to get two more and then we're going to let you go. NYCDNP said, I feel like you must be a fire or have it in your moon and sun. I've been a nurse for 25 years now and I just guess to see if I am right. Oh, my fire sign? Sagittarius, absolutely. December 5th. Hi, December baby, stand up. Can I tell y'all something? I have no idea what that means. NYCDMP said, I feel like you must be a fire or have it in your. What does the moon and sun mean? Like, I know I'm a Sagittarius, but people were just like, yeah, I'm a Libra with a Creole sun and a Capricorn moon. What does that mean? I have no idea what that means. Kiwi said also, I'm a big advocate for consent, and I don't know if I'm too big of an Amaya fan, but I was very surprised at Zach saying she did too much and forced their kissing, despite her asking his boundaries when they first met, because she did not want to make him feel uncomfortable. Zach can go. Zach can go. Okay, K-Press said, I think moon is supposed to be how you feel. Your emotions is sun. It's how you appear. Okay. So can I be a Sagittarius with a Sagittarius sun? Is that real? Because I feel like I'm a Sagittarius. Like my emotions, definitely Sag. I feel like I think like a Libra. Right. I think I feel and think like a Libra, but I feel like my emotions are Sag. So can I be a Sagittarius with a Sagittarius sun and a Libra moon? Is that possible? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out. Moon is how you interact with other risings. What the hell is another rising? Yes, let's end the night with some likes, y'all. Likes. Let's end the live with some likes. Kingdom Lex said, your time of birth determines your signs. Zodiac sites will give you your chart. See, I don't know when I was born. I was born in a house. I was born in a house, baby. I don't know what time I was. I gotta ask my mom. Betty says Sagittarius is your sun based on your birthday, Nikki. Rising is how people perceive you. Moon. Okay. Because I've been wanting to know this for so long. So my sun is Sagittarius. My rising. I feel like people think I'm a Sagittarius. I feel like I give Sagittarius. And I feel like my moon is Libra. Can I be Sagittarius, Libra? Can I be a Sagittarius sun? Yes, Sagittarius sun, a Sagittarius rising, and a Libra moon? Is that possible? Ms. Rodriguez said, this cast stays throwing around buzzwords all willy-nilly. It makes it hard to know what they really mean because they don't know what it means. They don't know what chat GPT. Ruining everybody. Hey, T. T said, rising is how you present to others. Moon is emotion. I feel like I'm okay. Sun is your general personality. Sagittarius, Libra. Her royal person said, I knew it. I knew you were a Sag. I knew I connected with, yeah! I'm telling you, I don't know if this is like normal, but like me and Sages, I never have beef with the Sag. My bestie is a Sag. Like I get along with Sagittarius so well. Is that normal? Kaylee said, I tried to download them apps for astrology. I never understood. Yeah, I never. Kiwi said, sun is your higher self. It's how people see you and how you're meant to be. Sagittarius. Moon is how you feel about yourself and your thoughts. I feel like I'm a Libra. I feel like I'm a Libra. Yes, listen to Mama Star. She said, let's hit the like button. Oh my God, depends on what planets. Where the planets were when you were born. Ciao. Okay. Miss Afro Majestic said Taurus Sun, Aries Moon, Taurus Sun, Aries Moon, Gemini Rising. Oh, wow. You're very well cultured with a little bit of spice. SL said, all I know is I'm a Gemini and my moon is Scorpio and Sun Gemini. So, people need to tread lightly with you. I don't know what I'm talking about. Right? I just, ciao. Welcome to a NikkiStar Live Kingdom. We start one place, we will not end the same place. Yes, I'm glad I'm helping because I'm telling you, people will be saying all this stuff around me, especially in LA. Everybody knows their charts. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I can see that too. Aquarius moon, yeah, that's what it's given. I don't know what I'd be saying, but it's LA. So I'm just like, you got to keep the conversation going. I don't know none of that stuff. I don't know none of that stuff. I'm a consult with Mama Star, and I'm gonna get all my times and stuff, so y'all can tell me. Betty said, Nikki, you're big three. Oh, you're big three. That's good, right? Sun, rising, and moon are still based on birth chart and time. You don't choose. Sun is your birthday. Rising is how you present and perceive our others. Moon is emotion. How you see. Oh, I can't choose that? I don't know. Well, this isn't fun. Because I can't switch it up. Can I be like a Aquarius moon some days and a Gemini star other days? K Pratt said you should do a poll and see how many of your followers are probably a lot. Where can I do that? Can I do that in here? Ms. Brown Sugar says, so funny because I'm a Capricorn and I never recognize myself in the description I hear about Capricorns. I'm a Sag cusp. Oh, we didn't introduce something else. And I identify so much with more than much more with that energy. I'm a Sag through and through. Let's get the likes up. It's easy though. Wait, I saw this. It's easy though. You put your birthday in there and guess the time. The generator app will tell you the rest. Okay. I know that's right. And let me tell you something. My best friend is a Taurus. He's a foodie. That is now, when I ever find, because he lives in New York, anytime I find a restaurant, I send it to him and I'm like, when we going? He's always down for a foodie tour. He's always down for a foodie tour. Oh, I can't choose. That sucks. That's no fun. Natal chart. Okay. Now, I feel like I attract a lot of fire signs. I will say this. I have a lot of patience because both of my sisters are Pisces. And I'm in the middle of them. What the hell is that? Oh, that's my mom. Hold on. Mom, why are you calling me? I can see your messages.
Get off of that subject.
Mom, find my birth date so I can do my chart. She's Christian. But my mom's. I'm gonna get my date. December Sag. I have learned a lot of patience. Them water signs, thicko, child. Thicko. Oh, yeah, that. Hold on. That's also my luxury friend. If I ever want to do a little luxury trip, that's the friend that I have to convince. Like, that's the friend that I use to convince the rest of the friend group. I could say something so crazy and he'd be like, bet, let's do it. But it's some other friends I got to convince. I knew she would hate. Like the video, y'all. Let me get out of here. That's the thing. I keep on telling her our ancestors use astrology to free themselves from slavery. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the North Star. We were looking at the stars. It's cultural. and needy. My God, today. But I love them because they have made me who I am today. That's why I'm such a great host. I'm such a great host, and I can deal with everything in the chat. You know, I can be soft when I need to, then I could be stern when I need to, because them water signs just, oof. I was forged in the fire of the Pisces. I've learned. I learned. She sure does. She sure does. Thank you. Thank you. We're on topic. I'm gonna get my dates. I'm gonna get my dates. Thank you. Tell that to Mama Star. Tell that to Mama Star. Anyway, y'all, let me get out of here. I'm gonna get my dates from Mama Star, and then we can talk and get another live. I love y'all so much. Thank you for being here. Shout out to my new moderators. I totally appreciate you volunteering and helping out. And as you can see, it was a little bit more chill in here today. Why? Because those people who have ill intentions they saw this episode and realized they could not rig the fight. They couldn't. You can try to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. So they're going to move on to something else. They're going to move on to another popular thing to torment. And I think we can now go back to normal now that they know they can't rig this game. So we will see. I love you all. Again, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to be here tomorrow, same place, same time. See you then. Bye. I'm a December baby. Does December 5th make